Azani did not celebrate out of duty. She celebrated because she had something worth celebrating. 3 years since Muna took the crown. 3 years of full markets, sealed borders, and a kingdom that had learned to walk with its head high. Tonight, the torches burned from the palace steps to the outer walls, and the people filled every space between them. Queen Muna watched from her throne. She had learned early that a queen does not dance at her own celebration. She watches. She counts who is present. She notes who is not. So while Azani danced beneath her, Muna sat still in her ceremonial armor, the ori pressed against her chest like a second heartbeat. And she did what queens do at the height of their power. She wondered how long it would last. Eni had been gone 23 days. She came through the Western traders' entrance while the celebration was still loud. No announcement, no ceremony. She moved through the outer corridor and found the captain of the sisterhood at her post. No greeting, she just pressed a sealed scroll into the captain's hand and held eye contact for 2 seconds. The captain moved immediately towards the throne. Eni stepped back into the shadow and waited. She had carried this information for 6 days across forest roads and river crossings, and the thing that kept her moving was not duty alone. She had watched Queen Muna lead Azani for 3 years. She had seen her hold the line in rooms where lesser women would have broken. What was inside that scroll was going to cost the queen something no battle ever had. The celebration was still audible from her chamber window. Muna sat at the edge of her reading table and did not open the scroll immediately. Bad news did not get worse from being approached slowly. It simply waited. She broke the seal. Eni's report was precise the way all of Eni's work was precise. No emotion, only facts laid against facts until the picture assembled itself, whether you wanted it or not. Carlo had met the Prince of Dracon 3 times in a merchant's house. By the 3rd meeting, something had changed hands. A map of Azani's arena grounds and the location of the passage beneath it. A passage only warriors trained in Azani's oldest school would know existed. Carlo had been trained there. So had Muna. She set the scroll down and sat completely still. Outside her window, Azani was still celebrating. She had kept every promise she ever made to this kingdom. Everyone except the promise she made to herself the night of her coronation, that she would not let love make her stupid. Eni entered without ceremony. Muna picked up the scroll and held it without looking at it. She said, "Are you certain?" Eni said yes. One word. No hesitation. Muna had asked that question to many people over 3 years of ruling. She knew the difference between certainty and performance. She listened as Eni told her everything. The 23 days undercover. Following Carlo on the 2nd day. Watching him walk into that merchant's house with the look of a man convincing himself he was doing something reasonable. When Eni finished, Muna asked only one more thing. Who else has seen this? Only Nana. She commissioned the investigation. Muna nodded. Then tell no one, not the council, not the sisterhood. Nobody moves before I have looked at him myself. She dismissed Eni with 2 words. You did well. Then she allowed herself 30 seconds of something that was not quite grief and not quite rich. Then she straightened. There was someone she needed to see first. Nana's garden was the only place in the palace that did not feel like a palace. Muna found her grandmother where she always found her after dark, sitting, waiting, as if she had known Muna was coming before Muna had decided to come. Nana looked up and said simply, "Sit down, child." Muna sat. Then she said, "You were right." Nana did not say, "I told you so." She asked only, "What will you do?" Muna said she needed to see his face first. She needed to look at him before she decided anything. Nana was quiet. Then she said, "I watched him for almost a year. I saw the way his eyes moved. Not with love alone, with calculation. The way a man looks at something he once believed was his and is trying to understand how it slipped away. It was not evil I saw in him. Evil would have been simpler. What I saw was hunger, a man who felt the world owed him something. The kind of hunger that does not announce itself. It just sits until the right door opens." Muna stood. She looked down at her grandmother. This small certain woman who had held an entire kingdom together and put it down without complaint the moment Muna was ready. She said, "Thank you, Nana." Nana touched her hand once, brief and certain. She said, Go and look at him, then come back and tell me what you see. It was past the second hour of the night when they came for him. Kalu had not been sleeping. He sat at the edge of his bed in the dark, still dressed, listening to the celebration outside his window, the sound of Azani loving its queen. He had made his choice months ago. He had built the justification carefully, brick by brick. Azani owed him. The injury had taken everything. He had watched Muna become a queen while he became invisible. Present at no ceremony that mattered, mentioned in no record that would outlast him. The Prince of Drakon had looked at him across a table and seen him clearly. That was the thing he had not expected, to be seen. The knock at his door was measured. 2 members of the sisterhood. Courteous expression. They told him the queen requested his company. He looked at his faces. He knew. He dressed carefully, the way a man dresses when he understands that what he puts on in the next hour might be the last choice entirely his own. Then he followed them out without a word. Standing when he entered, she had considered sitting, but she did not want to be the queen in this room. She wanted to be the woman who had known this man since they were teenagers, throwing each other to the ground in a training yard. So she stood. She watched his face when he saw her. In the first unguarded second before he composed himself, she saw no guilt, she saw relief. The relief of a man who had been carrying something unbearable and has finally been allowed to put it down. She placed Eni's report on the table between them and stepped back. She watched him read it. His hands were steady. When he looked up, he said her name, Muna. Just that. The only person in the kingdom who had ever called her simply Muna and meant it as something complete. She said, don't. Then she asked him one question. Was any of it real? He did not hesitate. He said, all of it was real. From the training yard to last night, all of it. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, then that's what makes this unforgivable. Only you could have done this because only you knew where I left myself unguarded. She said it without rage, without her voice breaking. The way you say something you have already finished grieving by the time the words come out. She turned, walked to the door and opened it. The sisterhood was waiting. She stepped aside and she did not watch them take him. She faced forward. They say a queen does not feel. That's not true. A queen feels everything. She simply learns to feel it in the right order. First the kingdom, then herself. Muna stood in the corridor long after the footstep faded. She gave herself that much, the right to stand still and hold the full weight of what had just happened before she was required to carry it gracefully. Kalu was gone. No, he was not dead yet. That decision belonged to the morning. Tonight, she was simply the woman who had loved him, who had laughed without pretense beside him, who had felt for the first and only time since the crown that she was allowed to be something small and entirely her own. She touched the ori at her chest once. It was still there and still whole. She had kept it safe. At a cost she had not finished counting yet. Tomorrow, Azani would need its queen. Tonight, Muna walked through a corridor alone and did not let a single person see her face until she was ready. That was the only luxury the crown had ever given her, and she took it.